And so, on that note, we head into the Kaldia tunnel, and finally we get this song again. We didn't get to hear it at all during Chapter 2. It's called Wandering in the Darkness, by the way. I don't know, I feel like people could make jokes about that phrasing, but anyway. No one there, though we do know that Chloe is obviously more than she appears. We could tell that from the end of Chapter 2. However, the question is, when will Estelle and Joshua find out? Why is it that whenever Estelle, like, picks up something suspicious about somebody we've met, her first guess is always Joshua has a crush on them? That was the case with Josette as well, and now Chloe. Yeah, they didn't really kiss there. I guess Estelle skimmed over that part. She probably just read, like, they kiss, and then immediately stopped reading and didn't realize the note, fake this part. Also, this is another Estelle line that I think often gets quoted by the fandom. And here's the point where Estelle starts to get more and more tsundere. At least to an extent. She's not like ridiculously tsundere, but only that over this one specific thing. Yep, let's change the awkward subject. Here we are in the Kaldia tunnel on our way to Zeiss. Okay, so it's time to begin our trek down the Kaldia tunnel. You can check out the maps of this place, and yeah, it's kind of big and twisty. Even though this is a main road, it is obviously also a cave, so there will be treasure chests here. Just being a little careful because obviously, being a cave, there are enemies too. So you want to make sure that you check out every nook and cranny, and be careful because enemies like to hide around corners like that. This thing here is our first enemy for this area, a damp crawler. So, I believe these things can either lower your defense or inflict delay or something. I forget exactly what they do, but I know that they can inflict something on you. Of course, it went down pretty easily. They're more dangerous in larger groups. Much more dangerous, and we'll be seeing larger groups of them in the not-too-distant future. So, just careful. And here we have chest number 1. There are 7 chests in here. Tira Bomb. The chest is empty, like your thieving heart. Again, that reminds me of Link's Awakening. Curia Bomb. That cures status ailments, by the way. The chest is empty because you removed the contents, you loser! And continuing up here. No enemies here. Another Tira Bomb. Nope, still empty. And that's everything up there, so let's just head back onto the main path. Got 3 out of 7. There are quite a few of those chests to find. Also, a few more enemies that we haven't fought here yet. Obviously, we need to go down here. No, nothing around that corner. You do want to be rotating the camera a lot in this area because it's quite easy to get jumped by things if you're not careful. Some of these paths are dead ends, but most of them do have chests down them. Aha! Speaking of getting jumped by things, we have this thing here, a cave ray. I don't know why, but I've always liked the way this enemy looks. Fast and armed with poisonous fins. Okay, we know you're going to be inflicting poison then. And Joshua doesn't have any fire-based cords. I should probably switch to that. There's actually a lot of wind-weak enemies in here, which is probably a good thing since, yeah, Aerial's a great spell to have on hand most of the time. Joshua's still a little while off leveling up, unfortunately. And here we have Death Blow 2, yet another one of these. Reduce the surging empty chat, that's a reused message. Come on, game, you can do better than that. Or should I be saying come on, localizers, because really it's actually all them who did those. I've said this many times before, but the chest messages actually got a lot better in the second game. Okay, that's, no, that's actually not even a cave raid, it's something new. I hate this thing. Bewitching Bubbles, it can put you to sleep, I think, and thankfully it didn't work that time. Yep, breathes Hypnotic Bubbles. So this thing actually has a decent amount of HP, so you might end up having to, well, I mean, usually using arts on things is useful, but I've been getting by with just physical attacks here so far. Okay. Speaking of arts, I actually think it's really cool how that chapter of Carnelia that we just read, it actually describes, like, how arts work in actual use in this universe. And it also describes that changing the quartz in your orbment, speaking of which, I should probably go ahead and do that, because, yeah, I think I may need something. Is there anything better than Cast 1 that Estelle could use? Oh, Cast 2. Nobody's using that right now. Don't know why Joshua isn't using Cast 2, actually. That was kind of a dumb omission on my part. I think I'd rather put Attack 2 on him at this point. But yeah, actually changing the quartz in your orbment is a lot more technical than you probably think, but of course the gameplay just downright simplifies the mechanics of it. So let's head into the second area of Kaldia Tunnel. This one is a lot more straightforward, kind of literally, because it's mostly just a straight line. But one cool thing about Kaldia Tunnel, if we keep heading forward, is not that thing, but I may as well fight it anyway. Oh, actually there's a new enemy in this fight. Jet Tortoise, that actually sounds like kind of a cool name. Uses Earth-based art, but that it means it actually can cast Earth Guard, and Earth Wall on itself. So, yeah, I kind of wonder if Anticept all feels a little bit, it's funny, it doesn't actually cover everything. Its name's a bit of a misnomer, but, yeah, might actually be useful here. Oh, and I completely forgot about this in earlier episodes, but finally we're actually seeing Comet. It has to target a specific enemy, much like Joshua's Flicker, but it is one of the few long-range attacks that Estelle has access to, and it's pretty powerful too. Yeah, I like to call it the Staff Door Hen. I've actually really missed this music, so, basically, I've actually been, it's been a while since I've recorded this game, since I've been kind of getting hooked on 3 houses at the moment. And, basically the point that I'm currently at in 3 houses, I'm definitely enjoying having a breather. Clock Up EX will be very, very useful soon, but right now I may as well just spam White Gahana, because, like I said, there's actually a very good thing about the Kaldia Tunnel. I think I'm actually just gonna have you straight up whack this thing, even though, well, that did decent damage. So that thing that I was talking about is right over this bridge. Yep, there's a free heal point in here. So that's extremely convenient. You can kind of fight the enemies to your heart's content in this place. No reason not to heal after that. The heal point's right here, we may as well use it. So, you won't know it now, but I guess I can talk a little bit about the general feel of Chapter 3 compared to the previous chapters. You might see there's a branching path out there. So, Chapter 3 is actually a little bit more like Chapter 1, and if you want to just go for the main story content, it's fairly short. But it's a bit more open than Chapter 2 was. Chapter 2, I feel, is quite a bit more linear, and definitely a lot slower than earlier chapters. So yeah, we can actually head straight up to the Limestone Cave if we want. I'm going to take that path, but not actually go in the Limestone Cave itself, because there are chests on the way in. Hi there.
We're good to go.
Another Terror Bomb. The chest is empty, because you've already been here. And I think that's all almost right into that. I think that's actually all that's up this path. But I just want to just quickly go in here just to show something. Yep, dude is back. But we have no business in there yet. We will have business there eventually, and I'm sure many of you are looking forward to that. There's been someone in the comments who's constantly been asking me about evil penguins, and, yeah, that's a pretty iconic thing for people who've played this game, but that's not going to come until a little later in this chapter. But trust me, there will be evil penguins in the future. Okay, Joshua levels up. I definitely want him to get to level 23 at some point in this chapter, because he learns a second S-craft then, and it's one that's going to be very useful for the remainder of the game. Obviously, let's head down this branching path first. I guess on the subject of the Doot Doot song, I can mention that its actual name on the soundtrack is Peace Given by Darkness, which is a surprisingly ominous name. Celestial Balm. Aha! You again! Actually, I don't think we've seen a Celestial Balm before, but we will certainly be seeing more of those. Celestial Balms are a full revive item, so yeah. Like I said, we'll probably be seeing more of those later on, but at this point, Azalea Rose is pretty much enough. And in here we have Terra Balm. The chest is empty, but you may now fill it with your tears. Now, I think that should be everything. I've lost count after the first 3, but I'm pretty sure that should be all the chests in this place. Let me just quickly check my notes. Okay, Thieving Heart, Looter, empty, reduces an empty chest because you've already been here. You again in tears. Yes, that should be all of them. And so, once we head down here, this leads right to Zeiss. But before we get there, something's about to happen. Oh, I just remembered what dialogue we're about to see coming up. So we have Girl, but Girl conspicuously has a portrait. What's this localization's obsession with the phrase, "Where's the fire"? Well, yes, but in the opposite direction that you are. I've seen a few lights, but I haven't really been paying attention to the ones that weren't working, though. Of course, Josh was the observant one. And there she goes. What is it with us running into mysterious people who just immediately bolt without really saying why? Well, if we remember from an earlier side quest, we know that broken lights on a road that travelers frequent is generally a bad thing. So, for this, we actually have to make our way pretty far back down the tunnel, so I'll see you when action happens. Fortunately, the free heal point is on the way. I think it's around about this area. Yeah, there we go. Remember when I said these things would attack in large numbers later? Here's an example. Well, that calculation was a little off. The giant worms are not impressed. Yes, I remember you. We met you just a few minutes ago. And so, they're not actually wasting any time. We already have our new party member for this chapter, but the enemy's gonna get a few turns before she does. So yeah, her starting position here is actually not ideal for reasons, but I guess I can delay one of their turns. In fact, those reasons should be apparent when you look at her HP right there. I'll talk more about this character, because we actually haven't really even learned her name yet, technically. I'll talk more about them after this fight. And I'll just say this character, like, they've got a few things already, mostly Earth-based arts. They're actually not the best at arts. However, their basic physical attack has an AoE effect. I did not want her to walk forward, though. That was probably a bad idea. Oh yeah, these things drain HP as well. That's also annoying. I might actually have to S-craft a few of them. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just pick off 2 of them like that, because they'll quickly heal themselves back up if I don't. And I'm just gonna go for the, yeah, the ones that will obviously go down. And, yeah. You are getting a sneak preview of this character already. And, of course, you can't use any crafts now. But you can get... Oh, even White Kahana. Yeah, these things actually aren't very fast, which obviously is a good thing. In fact, they should probably go down to a combination of this and White Kahana. We'll see. White Kahana is actually, like, one of the most powerful spells in all of FC. It actually has a power rating equal to, like, some of the higher tier spells that you can get. And there they go. Obviously, as you can see there, they're resistant to faint.
That's that then. Let's move out.
A lot of Mirage Seepeth from that, though. I find that Mirage Seepeth tends... I guess I'll talk about that when we get to the shops. But, yeah. Definitely scary for you. Because that HP... Yeah, that HP. Yes, clearly, with an HP stat like yours. And yeah, the lights are what keep away monsters. But the irony is that, yeah, if the lights fail, then the monsters can just get at the Seepeth inside. So maybe they should actually come up with a better monster repellent system. One that doesn't cause serious danger when it malfunctions. Also, yeah, another great Estelle line. There's just so many of these. These are just reasons why I just really wish we got English voice acting for this game. Yeah, we're just on our way to a new branch. This is Tita. Yeah, she could really use bodyguards, and she's pretty far into the cave right now. Yeah, so this is actually hinted at in the LaBelle news earlier. Zeiss is so advanced it actually has its own computer. And Estelle is clueless again. Which is gonna lead to a really amazing line right about now, I think. Oh, I think here it comes. Yep, it's coming. Get ready for this. Yep, this text box is meant to be this big, by the way. It looks a little bit better if you're not in full screen mode, but... I love this so much. And I love how Estelle actually cuts it off halfway through. Actually, I kind of want to keep a save file from here just to hear what that line sounds like with the Japanese voice patch. So, now I actually have a new party member to talk about. Before I do anything else, tactics, battle position, you go as far back as possible, and Estelle and Joshua go as far forward as possible to protect her. So, this is Tita Russell. She uses an orbital cannon in battle, and as you can tell, she is an absolute glass cannon. Her HP is by far the worst in the entire game. To say that Tita has the defenses of wet tissue paper would be an insult to wet tissue paper. You want to keep her very far away from enemies because she goes down very, very easily. And you might think that if she's this much of a glass cannon, surely she's a magical powerhouse, right? Actually, no. Her Orbmud is pretty bad, and she doesn't really have a lot of good elementally restricted slots. Some of them are restricted to space, which is not the best in this game, since there's actually no offensive space art in this one, I believe. So even like her Orbmud setup is way too awkward to even put Earth Wall on, which would probably be one of the few things she'd actually be good with. I guess you can get that on her later if you open... No, even that one is restricted, huh? Yeah, it's really hard to even fit Earth Wall on. So, if Tita is a glass cannon, and she's bad at magic, and even her physical attack is not fantastic, as you can tell by looking at the other two party members we have right now, what exactly is she good for? Well, fittingly for a technology expert, Tita's main strength lies in her crafts. And also her basic attack, not for its damage, but for the fact that it has an AoE effect just built into it on its basic attack. She doesn't even need move 2 because she has a range attack. This means I find Tita to be a very... I'm gonna have to put... yeah, here we go. Let's switch that back to blind. Because I find Tita to be a very ideal candidate for Death Blow. Death Blow or Petrify. This is incredibly fun when combined with her standard attack having AoE. And also when combined with her first craft, Smoke Cannon, which I might actually be able to show when I get into another battle, but firstly let's actually equip you with some accessories. No, just those will do for now. I think I'll actually head back to the heal point, and then I'll try and get into a battle just to show what I mean by this. Because Smoke Cannon's actually a pretty solid art, and she learns some other ones later on that are pretty useful too. Aha! Here's a willing volunteer! Unfortunately, she's not even very fast either, so... yeah. Like, honestly, a lot of people probably don't like Tita all that much as a party member. I personally think she's alright. She does have a lot of niche uses, but she definitely is not quite as obviously useful as, let's say, Chloe or Olivier. So anyway, Smoke Cannon. So this has a very wide AoE, it has a decent amount of range on it, has a very high chance of inflicting blinds, but in addition, if you have Death Blow or Petrify on, this is also a very wide AoE Death Blow / Petrify attack. So having an AoE that big with pretty much guaranteed blind, but 10% instant death is actually very, very useful. Additionally, Tita's S-Craft is incredibly good as well. Well, blind doesn't stop him from using that, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to waste an attack to get that off you. Her S-Craft, Cannon Impulse. I probably want to show that at some point, just because it's probably my favorite S-Craft in FC, just for its ridiculous animation. And just for the sheer audacity of the concept of it, like, it's amazing. I really, really want to get a chance to show it off later, because it's just so funny. But yeah, it's a pretty solid S-Craft. It has a very wide AoE, and it does decent physical damage. And if you have Death Blow equipped on her, it takes that chords into account, so you have a very wide AoE S-Craft that can inflict instant death, or Petrify if you're so inclined. Later on in the game, though, Tita also learns an AoE ranged healing craft, which is one of the only ones you get in the game, apart from Chloe's S-Craft. It's a lot cheaper in terms of CP, and it heals a lot more than the other healing craft that you get later on in the game, that's on a different party member. So yeah, overall, Tita is more of a utility party member than anything else. Like I said, she's not as obviously useful as someone like Chloe, but I personally don't find her that bad. And again, we're stuck with her for this chapter, like I said at the very beginning of the game, so there's no real reason to compare character viability at this point. So anyway, the exit to Kaldia Tunnel actually heads straight into the basement of the factory. That's actually the only entrance we have to the town right now. So, yeah, Tina's not kidding when she says the factory is huge. Fortunately, though, the layout is not nearly as complicated as what she says it is. It's actually pretty simple once you remember where everything is, but we'll be getting very well acquainted with the factory during our time here. Because it's not an exaggeration to say that about half the town is just the factory. So since we didn't really spend all that long in the tunnel, I can probably afford to show a bit of the town in this part. So anyway, we have a lot of miners around this area. And welcome to If You Thought Ruins Town theme was great. I love this song so much. By the way, 1 Torum is equal to 1,000 kilograms. And here we are at the first floor of the central factory. The main reception desk. And by consumer maintenance window, she actually means that this is where we can buy quartz and customize our augments for this chapter. And pretty much everyone here knows Tita. She's pretty famous around these parts. Unfortunately, Tita's going to be leaving us for a short while. But we need to go to the guild first anyway. Well, that's certainly a better first impression of a kid than what we got back in the Ruin region. And what I'd actually like to do is head down and check out what's on sale in the shop. So yeah, here is the Zeiss Central Factory. This thing is enormous, and yeah, even its front square alone is pretty big. So there are a few shops here, Now, we should have everything here if we've been diligent about buying food earlier in the game, but if you missed any of these earlier on, you can buy them now. It's good that we have a new source of azalea roses, though, because they're one of the best vital items at this point, cost-wise, and we can buy ingredients here. And here... Yep, this fantasy world has escalators. It's kind of cool just seeing the characters react to something that's actually not common in this universe, but in our world is obviously pretty mundane. And so, I'm gonna be a rebel and go down the up escalator! Anyway, this is the lower half of the town, basically the half of the town that's not the factory. So here is the Zeiss Bracer Guild. Before that, I'm gonna go ahead and stop at Stain Arms and Guard, which I always found to be a really funny name. Like, is their tagline, "We hope they're stained with the enemy's blood, not yours"? But anyway, here we actually have a few new things that we can get. We have the Spike Rod, Gurkha Knives, and Craft Cannon. Gee, I wonder if Tita will be joining us again soon. Let's go ahead and grab... I always have ice cream if I need to buy more things, because, yeah, some of this armor's pretty dang expensive. The shield vest we already have, but the metal jacket is new, and if you scroll down... Work jumpsuits. I'm gonna go ahead and buy one of these right now, just because this is one of the easiest pieces of armor to miss in the game, besides the hide jumpsuits, and when I got the all armor achievement on my own time, that was the last one I needed to buy, so I evidently missed it in an earlier playthrough. So, those are the weapons and armor we can get. Here is Bell Station General Goods, which is kind of a cool name. And we've already got LaBelle News Issue 6. Remember the woolly knit hat. It will be important for a later side quest. And I'm guessing we can go ahead and make ice cream here, so I may as well try that. Okay, that should be good for a little while. Basically, I wanted to make sure... you know what? Now that I have that much, I should probably go back and... I'll just get one metal jacket for now. I may as well get the craft cannon while I'm here. Okay, equipment updated. There's one more shop that I want to hit up in here, and that is the local bar. Because here, we have some more dishes we can get. We can get rotini pasta, black pepper soup, and seasonal tarts. And as always, let's get the recipes out of the way now. Now, just before we register ourselves at the local guild branch, I want to just check out something at the hotel because... Yep, here we go. Prepare to meet my favorite minor NPC in this whole game. It's Emma, the Hammy Maid! Yeah, I'll be talking to her a lot over the course of this chapter. Hammy Maid is best NPC. But speaking of less minor NPCs, we're about to meet probably my favorite guild branch head in the game. Although it's gonna take a little while for you to figure out why. Yeah, I guess you knew we were coming. Word travels fast, it seems. Well, obviously, when they have phones. It's a good thing these guilds have these phones. Makes getting in touch with each other pretty easy when you need to. So, this is Kilika. And again, she is my favorite guild branch head in all of LaBelle, but it's gonna take a while before you find out why. I will say she's probably the first one that you get any kind of backstory on. That'll be a hint as to why right now. So we're now officially registered in this region. Yeah, especially after we had to deal with some huge arson plot in the last area. Yep, she knows everything. Well, that's not a surprise. Well, I get the feeling that even if it was his scheduled time to stop here, he wouldn't be here right now. Maybe he's not even in Liberl. I think that's Attention Factory Chief? So, yeah, this place puts such an emphasis on technology that whoever runs the factory is basically the same as the mayor. Well, like I said before, if anyone can solve the mystery of that, it's this place. And while I get the feeling a major incident is obviously going to occur, because it's the protagonist's curse. Wherever they go, something major will happen. Because you wouldn't really have a story otherwise. Well, I mean, unless you're in some kind of a breather filler episode. So, there is, I think, yes, there are 2 jobs here. Temp Librarian and Trap Plains Monster. And we'll be taking care of that one soon, and that one on our way to plot progress later on. As a bit of a preview of the overall region, if we can go to the map, Zeiss is pretty central to a large amount of areas, so like I said, just like the Bose region, this one's a little bit more open. There are quite a lot of areas that we can go to from Zeiss, and we'll be doing quests all throughout the region as things progress. So our next destination is to head to the factory chief and talk to him, but I think right now we've made our way through Kaldia Tunnel, we've registered at this guild branch, we've accepted a few side quests, sort of. There's only one more thing that I want to do here, and that's to go to the landing port, because there's someone to meet in this place. A cat. Hi, cat. And on that note, I will leave you until next time. So, see you then.